Well, John, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today. Let's get right to it. In your most famous sermon, you depict God as being very angry. Why did you choose to do this?
Well, we want our audience to know that the horrific reality is that if you do not go to God for salvation, you're going to go to hell. Simple as that.
Very nice. You haven't really been known to put your views into writing, mostly sermons like these. What is your reasoning behind doing this?
Well, being able to do a live sermon connects the speaker with the audience much more than any other text, and also it creates the atmosphere that I envision.
In these sermons, you choose to be very forthright with your depiction of hell as a fiery inferno. Why do you choose to do this?
Well, we want only the most committed to be a part of the Puritan belief and the followers, and so we want to weed out those who aren't fully committed.
I see. Thank you. So, William, what drew you to the Puritan Church?
The Puritan Church just really had the thing that I needed once my parents died when I was young, and it just really had a lot of influence to kind of lead me back on the right path in a time of sorrow. Especially if, the main reason that I joined the church was based on a sermon I heard by a man named Richard Clifton, and it had a lot of things that I was looking for, and so I wanted to test it out.
How do you feel about Winthrop's goal of turning the Massachusetts Bay Colony into a city on a hill?
I think that message is one that we can all attest to, because once we kind of turn our colony into sort of a lighthouse for those looking for a refuge, it'll really kind of send our message out, and everyone will kind of know what the Puritans are all about.
Very good. Recently you've been occupied by being the governor of the Plymouth colony. How did you acquire this position?
Well, I didn't come over as the governor. We actually had a governor before, but our first winter in the colonies was very rough and we lost a lot of people. And so I was unanimously voted for to become the governor. And it's taught me a lot of good life lessons, and it's actually where I get lots of the inspiration for my poetry from, including one of my chronicles called The Plymouth Plantation.
Wonderful. Thank you for being on the show. So Anne, why don't you tell the audience and I about what it's like being a mother and a wife in the new world?
Well, I love being a mother. I love my family. I've raised eight great kids. They're the pride of my life, and I love my husband. He's my favorite man in the whole world, next to God.
That's wonderful. About your writing, what is it like being a female poet?
Well, it's been tough being a female poet. I'm kind of a pioneer in my field. There's not much of a precedent that's been established yet, but it's exciting. It can be tough at times, but it's fun to be a trailblazer.
That's good. Speaking of doing tough things, I hear that you broke away from the Anglican Church. Tell us about that.
Well, the Anglican Church was horrible. They were oppressive, and they wouldn't let us express our religious ideas. And I'm not gonna say the word, but I will say this: it was like HELL double hockey sticks.
Wow, that's really horrible. I think we're all wondering, of course, what's the highest note that you can sing? It's wonderful. How much do you love God? Like a lot?
You don't have to ask me that question.
And now we'll hear Purify, the new hit song by the Cities Upon a Hill that's taking the Christian rap game by storm. Y'all know what the heck is going on.
With God, came in this world with God. Get clean, get pure with God. You're held over in the hand of that God. With God, with God. Sin is feeling the wrath of God. It's the wrath of the infinite God. Praying in this life with God. Praise.
Thy open sins none cannot hide, fraud, drunkenness, harlotry, and pride.
Yeah!
The great oppressors slay the poor, but when the errors they kill more purify. Yet some thou hast which mourn and weep, and their garments on spot to keep, who seek God's honor to maintain.
That way!
That true religion may remain. Purify, walk, fear him in truth, walk in his ways, and he will bless you all your days. My days spent, old age is come, my strength fills my glass near run.
Hey!
Now I will wait when work is done, until my happy change shall come, when from my labors I shall rest, with Christ above for to be blessed.
God came in this world with God. Get clean, get pure with God. You're held over in the hand of that God. With God. With God. Sin is feeling the wrath of God. It's the wrath of the infinite God. Praying in this life with God.
What'll save you isn't good works. I reject the teachings of the Anglican Church, but mighty gracious Lord, communicate, break the cord, afford us glory's gate. Your place in hell is determined by sin. God's chosen your place, according to Calvin, doth pierce into my bosom smart. Do strike me in the very heart. Now pray up. My heart was made thy tender box, my affections were filled thy sparks by drops. Those holy sparks of fire that came, that passion, off an outward flame. Start theology, rapture or living.
Praise.
Petter Schwalschwalt out there and sweet flowers for glory bleed, whether thou gets them green or lets them seed.
Skirt.
With God. Came in this world with God. Get clean, get pure with God. You're held over in the hand of that God. With God. With God. Sin is feeling the wrath of God. It's the wrath of the infinite God. Praying in this life with God. With God. Came in this world with God. Get clean, get pure with God. You're held over in the hand of that God. With God. With God. Sin is feeling the wrath of God. It's the wrath of the infinite God. Praying in this life with God.
God, that there's a devil is a thing out of my knowing.
Skirt.
For any to deny the being of a devil, they already tempted by him.
Yeah.
In Salem, they killed all the good because they all thought they were bad. They all were hung up, burned up, crushed by rocks. Oh God, please, this is so sad.
Hey.
Tasting forbidden fruit our parents felt. This taste has plunged mankind all down to hell. Our blessed Lord Jesus Christ in our distress comes to fetch us from hell to blessedness. His works and names we may not use in vain, nor by our works there on his days profane. With honor is due we must our neighbors treat, and sweetly wish them lives both long and sweet. Good Lord!
And let the ever praising the good Lord, everybody questioning me. So love this world, the universal lie. When I see you, I think I want a guy. Where Satan's crew at?
Donde?
If there ever were one, then surely we. If ever knew I love my wife, then thee. My family's so connected, we don't feel what you're speaking. I'm traditional and I'm hella good. Does they have women worth or have they none? Or had they someone with a queen? God, but she though dead won't vindicate her wrong. That's a Sarah sex is for whatever reason. Now this is a slander now but once was treason. Compare with me, the women if you can. That them we live no ever may live ever.
Skirt.
With God. Came in this world with God. Get clean, get pure with God. You're held over in the hand of that God. With God. With God. Sin is feeling the wrath of God. It's the wrath of the infinite God. Praying in this life with God. With God. Came in this world with God. Get clean, get pure with God. You're held over in the hand of that God. With God. With God. Sin is feeling the wrath of God. It's the wrath of the infinite God. Praying in this life with God.